Hello, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are located. Just going to make sure people are getting in here okay from the waiting room. If everyone wouldn't mind making sure that they are muted, just to make sure that we can have all of you guys hear me okay during this. So, oops. Making sure everyone's muted. See some familiar names on here. Love seeing this name. Let's see, one more person joining. All right, I am going to get started. Many of us are probably on lunchtime. I think I see a lot of East Coast people on here based on the names that I see. So maybe you are consuming lunch right now or about to be, but I wanted to thank everyone for coming today. I am, as you know, chatting all about women's health and nutrition today. So women's health and nutrition is a topic that I think is so important that we really focus on some specifics outside of just weight and dieting. I will say there are a lot of things we could talk about. We could talk about pregnancy and postpartum and really trying to conceive and like fertility, like all those could be each individual topics. I've done menopause courses. I've done a course on like eating during your menstrual cycle, like all these different things. So this, I will say, is more generalized, but we will cover a bit of those topics a little bit. So as you guys know, we're chatting today about women's health and nutrition. My name is Allison Tallman. I'm a registered dietitian. Wanted to share with you my approach to nutrition and my food philosophy. So I take a whole foods-based approach. If you have worked with me before, or maybe you follow me on social media, you know that I am an anti-diet dietitian, which means that I focus on real whole foods and that all foods can fit. So carbs can fit, pizza can fit, wine can fit, ice cream, and so on. I think that all foods can fit regardless of your nutrition goal. If you are trying to lose weight, if you are trying to prevent heart disease, whatever it is, all foods can have a place. I'm also a research-backed dietitian. So I am constantly looking at new research that is out there. For example, whenever a client comes to me and says that they saw something on TikTok, because I know there's a lot of recommendations on TikTok and things these days about like hormones and nutrition, for example, I will look up the research on that specific topic so I can tell my clients the right information. I'm results driven. So all of you, like all my clients, probably have different nutrition goals. And I want my clients to reach their own nutrition goals, whatever they may be. So I love my clients see the results that they want. And in order to do that, I provide individualized support. Everyone here is different. Everyone here has different lifestyles. Maybe some of you are on medications. Maybe you have different goals. Maybe some of you hate cooking. Maybe some of you hate vegetables or picky eaters, whatever it is. It's so important to make sure that you have some individualized support. I also specifically help my clients to lose or manage weight without dieting, feel in control of their food choices at all times. So instead of feeling like they're out of control around a certain food or they're not sure what to be eating. For example, I was talking with a client yesterday who said, lunchtime comes, I don't know what to eat. And I help my clients to really feel empowered in their food choices. I also help them to feel their best inside and out, how to optimize their health to prevent diseases, and how to increase energy. And I help my clients to prevent diseases, to live a long, healthy life. That is the ultimate goal. For those of you who even want to like lose weight, for example, I always like to hone in on like, why do you want to lose weight? And you really want to live a long, healthy life. You want to feel good and feel your best. So that is what we are here for today. So we're going to be going over some general recommendations for women, specific nutrients of concern, a little bit about trying to conceive in foods for fertility, movement, resources, Q&A. So if you do have any questions, I will be taking them at the end. I also do have something special at the end of this. So stick around for a little goodie and that Q&A. So I'd love to hear from everyone here, if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat box, why does your health matter to you? And you can put, you can direct message it to me if you don't feel like sharing with the group. You can share with everybody, it's up to you. But why does your health matter? Why are you here today? Do you want to prevent diseases? Do you want to feel your best? Do you want to optimize your health? Do you want to fit in the pair of jeans that you haven't been able to fit into? And again, you can feel free to message me or message everybody. So I see interested in preventing diseases, what to eat when. I don't want my children having to look after me as I get older. I want to be healthier, make healthier choices. I love that some of you are including your children as well. I think it's so important to think that way, because if you do eat the right foods and optimize your health, you can feel better as you get older. I want to feel at my best. I have a rare gene disorder that gives a high risk of cancer. So I'm wanting to eat healthier. And as I'm sure you know, nutrition and what you eat and what you put into your body is very correlated with cancer risk. I want to feel 100% every day, more energy and regulate my hormones, live healthy so I can stay active as I get older. I love all of these. And again, if you look at them, maybe some of them are related, but everyone here has very specific goals and a reasoning behind them. For example, some of you mentioned like your kids and like your kids being the driver. So thank you for sharing. Change my food choices to lower my A1C, increase energy, and lose some weight. Love all these. So as women, we unfortunately have, there's always a risk for disease. So women are at high risk for cardiovascular disease as we get older. This is in general, the most common killer in the United States, but women are also at higher risk of cardiovascular disease. Different types of cancers, especially breast cancer, osteoporosis as we get older, unfortunately, due to menopause, hypothyroidism, iron deficient anemia, and there's plenty more, as many of you have even stated in here. But that's why it's so important to think about what we put into our body and how it's related. And this time of year especially, but research shows that greater than 50% of women are on a diet at any given time. And 9 out of 10 of those women who are on a diet gain that weight back when they stop that diet. So I just want you to think of this, because instead of focusing on maybe diet, and again, I know some of you want to lose weight, but maybe focusing on the bigger picture and not dieting can help you to really make sure you are seeing the results, but also sticking to it and sustaining those results. So first off, we're going to start off with general guidelines. So instead of going into, dieting and why you should be dieting, things like that, we're really going to go over the most important thing, which is optimizing your health and preventing diseases. So general diet, I think one of the most common questions I receive as a dietitian is like, well, what diet should I be following? For my clients, I make an individualized plan for them. So this is not for everybody, but this is an overarching healthy diet. You really want to aim for half your plate fruits and veggies. I'm just going to make sure everyone's muted here. I hear someone. Make half your plate whole grains and protein. So a quarter of your plate be those whole grains, quarter of your plate be that protein, 2 to 3 servings of low fat or fat-free dairy. If you don't eat dairy, you can have like calcium fortified non-dairy or calcium rich veggies. But the thing to think about, if you have special nutrition needs or goals, such as like you're wanting to lose weight, but you haven't, you want to lower your A1C. I know someone mentioned like wanting to reduce their risk of cancer. That's when I recommend consulting a registered dietitian for that customized eating plan, so that you can know specifically how much to be eating and what foods to be eating for you. And that's me. I'm a registered dietitian. That's why we're here today. And Friends is my favorite show. So by using that like plate method and other strategies that I've taught my clients, you can see results that you want. So you can reduce your A1C. Again, I remember someone mentioned wanting to reduce their A1C. One of my clients was taking 2 medications, was taking something for their heart and then a weight loss med, and they were actually able to get off those medications. A recent one of my clients lost 15 pounds, and she had always tried dieting in MyFitnessPal and Noom and Weight Watchers over and over each year, especially in January. And she was able to lose that weight without counting. And she deleted MyFitnessPal, which was pretty cool. So all of these individuals are putting themselves at decreased risk of disease by optimizing their health. So overarching guidelines, you want to consume a wide variety of nutrient dense foods. So instead of thinking of like, I need to be taking a vitamin D supplement. I hear so many times from women that they're just like loading their body with supplements. Instead of doing that, I always recommend focusing on food first and then consider supplements. So the way, for example, I work with my clients is figuring out what you're eating and do we need a supplement on top of that? Like, are you not getting the appropriate things? It's important to think that there's more than one way to eat healthy. Some of you, for example, have kids may have less time to cook than others, or some of you may be vegetarian or be allergic to a certain type of food, whatever it is. Don't necessarily think what someone else is doing is the right thing for you. There are some things that you want to generally limit so you can reduce risk of diseases such as diabetes, cancer, heart disease. So added sugars is one of them. Limit sources of added sugar, such as like candy, cookies, pastries, other desserts. This doesn't include naturally occurring sugars. So things like fruit are totally fine to eat. And I keep seeing this trend, and I feel like everyone's asking me if carrots are too high in sugar these days. Carrots are natural sugar. I'm talking about added sugar that is literally added to a food item. So added sugar is something you do want to limit. Alcohol. Alcohol has been linked to certain diseases, specifically like stomach cancer, colon cancer. So women should be limiting their intake. Those who drink less alcohol overall have less inflammation, reduced risk of disease, a healthier BMI, and lower cholesterol. I'm not saying you have to completely avoid alcohol. I consume alcohol, for example, but instead of maybe drinking alcohol every day of the week, like coming home and having that be like your something that relaxes you, finding other ways to cope with your stress and that maybe downtime, and find windows of time where drinking is appropriate. Saturated fat. So limiting your saturated fat, you want to be focusing on unsaturated fats instead. So unsaturated fats come in things like olive oil, for example, and veggie oils. Saturated fat is in things like meat and dairy, butter. It's in things like tropical oils like palm oil. I'm not saying you can never eat meat or dairy. Again, I eat meat and dairy. It just shouldn't be the bulk of what you are consuming. And when you are eating dairy, you might want to choose ones that are less saturated fat. So like low fat or fat-free dairy products. Thinking of fluid requirements, so kind of shifting away from those things to restrict or eat in moderation. Everyone here should be consuming at least 64 fluid ounces of water a day, which is about 8 glasses. Coffee, tea, and seltzer water do contribute to your daily water intake. I'd love to hear from you guys. How much water are you consuming per day? And if you have your water near you, this is your time to do a little virtual cheers. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you drink 8 glasses of water per day? Six to 7 glasses, 8 glasses. Some people say they drink too much water. Someone's drinking 60 ounces, 8 glasses. So it seems like most of you are eating the appropriate amount or drinking the appropriate amount. All right, we are going to shift into the specific nutrients of concern. Now, so in this section, we're kind of going to hop between different nutrients and get a little more specific. So iron contributes to good overall health and energy levels, especially prior to menopause. Our levels, our requirement daily is actually higher prior to menopause. And iron gives us energy because, someone else in the waiting room, because it creates hemoglobin, which carries oxygen throughout our blood. So it gives us energy. It's also beneficial for skin, hair, and nails. As women, we're at risk of being deficient because we lose blood during menstruation once a month, typically. Therefore, women of childbearing age need twice the amount of iron that men do. So something I always work on with my clients, for example, is when we look at what they're typically eating a day, something I'll look at is like, are you eating enough iron? And we'll kind of go through what that looks like. Like maybe that's the source of your low energy levels. So you do want to make sure you are consuming adequate iron. Iron is in meat, tofu, spinach, lentils, quinoa, many other things. It's just important to make sure that you are focusing on those high iron foods. Next thing is folate. So folate supports digestion, skin health, brain and nerve function, DNA production, and much more. It's also involved in carb metabolism. There's many different sources. So it's in like a ton of veggies, a lot of citrus fruits, seafood, eggs, dairy. Some really high sources actually are spinach. Some people like to eat liver, not my thing, but liver is actually a great nutrition source of like all these things, which is kind of weird, but asparagus, Brussels sprouts. And the reason why folate is important is, I'm sure many of us hear of like folate and folic acid. It's very important for pregnancy because it makes it critical for the fetal development and during those period of rapid growth. So pregnant and actually breastfeeding women have increased need. So this is important for everyone here, regardless if you are, not pregnant right now, but if anyone here is like maybe debating getting pregnant, even in the future, 50% of pregnancies are unplanned, and many planned pregnancies, women don't know they're pregnant for the first 5 to 6 weeks often. So it's really therefore important to make sure you are getting the appropriate amount. If you are not getting enough, then the neural tube defects can result from deficiency. So you may have heard the neural tube defects in the baby, which this typically closes within the first 21 to 28 days. Folic acid, so folate versus folic acid, folic acid is the synthetic form, so like the supplemental form. So it actually has a higher bioavailability, we call it, meaning it's just like absorbed better in the body. Folic acid is in a bunch of different like foods. So a lot of breads, pastas, cereals, things like that. So people who like think that cereal is like the worst thing for you, there are actually a lot of great cereals out there that essentially have like all these great nutrients in them. You also want to be thinking about if you are trying to conceive or maybe get pregnant at some point, maybe even if it's like a year from now, just starting to take a prenatal to make sure that you are getting that adequate folic acid. So starting to take that. The next thing is calcium. So calcium has healthy bones and teeth. I think most of us know that. I feel like we're educated on that as like a middle schooler, elementary school kid. And that's because of osteoporosis, the reason why it's important. And as I mentioned earlier, our risk of osteoporosis increases after menopause since our body has lower levels of estrogen. So for people here who want to feel like good for their kids as we age, so that you don't have to have your kids take care of you, things like that, making sure you're eating enough calcium is so important. And there is a risk of deficiency in those who eat dairy-free or a vegan diet. So as you can see here, though, there are plenty of non-dairy options for calcium if anyone here is dairy-free. So like yogurt, tofu, almonds, beans, leafy greens, etc. So there's plenty of options for you. Next thing is vitamin D. Vitamin D and calcium kind of go hand in hand with each other. Vitamin D is also important for healthy bones and teeth, but it's also important for muscle strength and immunity. I was actually looking up a research article last week on vitamin D as we get older, and those who have poor vitamin D stores when they're young, for example, like in your 30s, you have higher risk of weak muscles when you are, say, in like your 60s. So vitamin D is something that's very important. I'm not saying to everyone here automatically go take a vitamin D supplement, because if you are taking too much vitamin D, it can be toxic. So again, that's something that I work on with my clients is, are we eating enough vitamin D? If not, how do we do that? We can't do it through food, we'll do a supplement. But there are plenty of options. Those who are at risk of deficiency, if wherever you live doesn't get good sunlight, or if you don't eat a varied diet, I think most people think of vitamin D through the sun, but you can get it through your food as well. Omega-3s. Omega-3s are important because they prevent heart disease, which, as I mentioned, is the #1 killer, and women are at high risk. Research shows it also decreases risk of Alzheimer's or dementia, and you want to make sure you're consuming at least 2 omega-3 sources a week, or you may supplement, or you may need to supplement. So that could be like salmon, chia seed, walnut, tuna. I will say most individuals that I see don't consume enough omega-3 unless they are like a salmon eater, or if they're eating like chia seeds daily with like their smoothie or something. So important to think about. And again, very strong research showing that it will prevent heart attacks and stroke, and it will prevent or reduce that risk of Alzheimer's as we get older, because it specifically helps with our brain health. So shifting away from those specific nutrients, looking at a few more general topics, but foods promote fertility. Not that what you eat can like automatically make you more fertile, but research shows that what you eat does impact your fertility. So as I mentioned earlier, most women don't know that they're pregnant until 5 weeks gestation. So you do want to eat as if you're already pregnant. If you're like thinking about it in the future, so you want to be eating from all 5 food groups. So that plate I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that you are limiting your caffeine, limiting alcohol, drinking plenty of water. Again, take a sip now, and you want to optimize your nutrition as best as you can. But if you see this, there's no specific diet. I'm not telling you guys to eat a specific nutrient or eat this and you will become pregnant. It's important to really eat a well-balanced diet. And like I've said a few times, vitamins and minerals cannot replace a healthy diet. Those who are deficient in something, yes, you should be taking a supplement, but that's when I do recommend seeking help, because someone can help you to determine if you are deficient in something and then how to make sure you can get appropriate amounts. A prenatal vitamin, so touching on this from earlier, such as like folic acid, you do want to make sure that you're taking at least 3 months prior to conception, but prenatal should have folic acid, choline, calcium, iron, and omega-3 in it. And there are plenty of options out there. And one thing I will say, it is crazy the amount of prenatals that lack something in it. So looking at your health overall, I think a lot of us think of our health as like our weight, but there's many things to consider. Your diet / nourishment, like, are you eating foods that make you feel good and serve your body? Are you moving your body? Your past medical history, your general happiness levels. Are you happy day to day? Your sleeping patterns, your mental health, bowel movements, water. Are you drinking 8 glasses? Put physical activity here as well, but like joyful movement, walking, and stress levels. In terms of like physical activity, are you spending more time moving versus sitting, which a lot of us are unfortunately sitting probably right now. So what I recommend to you is schedule a well woman visit. So you can see your healthcare provider to discuss things like your family history, family planning, and personal habits. You may want to schedule necessary tests, thinking of like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and obesity. When you're pregnant, you will get your glucose tolerance tested. But thinking of like blood pressure, thyroid, hormones, iron levels, vitamin B12, if you are a vegan, there's so many lab values. And no matter how old you are, even I've met so many people who are 30 or younger who haven't been to the doctor in 5 years. You should go yearly to get your labs checked if you are looking to prevent diseases. And as I mentioned, you want to make sure you're moving your body as much as you can to feel your best. Next plan would be to work with a dietitian. So a dietitian can help to create a plan that is specific for you. Again, I know everyone here had different goals. And if you're looking to figure out what nutrients you need to be focusing on specific for those goals and making sure that you're not deficient or making sure that you're not eating too much, gain an understanding of nutrients you're likely not eating enough of. And if you want to build consistent eating habits that meet your everyday routine in life. And for example, so my clients, one of my clients went to the doctor and her blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar levels are all better. And one of my clients around Thanksgiving, she lost 15 pounds. She went on a cruise, came back. She still was losing that weight. I know there's a lot of like hype about these like weight loss drugs now that some doctors are pushing. And this client of mine was losing weight so that she didn't need to go on the weight loss drug. So physical activity briefly, you want to make sure you are moving as much as you can. So filling your day with walking, yard work, vacuuming, just moving your body, spending less time being sedentary. You want to move, as much as you can, but realistically, if you can move at least 150 minutes a week, I recommend more than that. I recommend, it depends what type of activity, but doing a mix of like more of cardio versus strength training. Strength training is so important for women to build our muscles, and especially as we age. But the requirements for exercise do remain the same as we age. So you want to be creating a plan. So you want to consider your long-term goals and reflect on your current health. Like go back to that list and say, like, how's my mental health? How's my physical activity? Things like that. Visit your doctor or your healthcare provider. consult a registered dietitian. And really, it's important just to have a plan in place to reach and sustain your nutrition goals so you can ultimately optimize your health and prevent diseases. A lot of people that come to me saying that they wish that they worked with a dietitian 5 years ago. They could have seen such great results and really had a plan in place. So they didn't fret about nutrition and what to eat for 5 whole years or start any of those crazy diets out there. If you are looking for, just some information, I recommend not getting your information from TikTok or Instagram unless they are a registered dietitian. You can also look at the dietary guidelines for Americans, which are updated every 5 years. And you can look at the USDA MyPlate. All right. And then we will take some questions in a second. So if you're starting to think of some questions, you can start putting them in the chat box if you want, and I will get to them. But I do have some exciting news to share. And this is for you, this exciting news, if you're needing a plan in place to reach and sustain your nutrition goals. If you want a full understanding of what and how much to be eating, if you're tired of not seeing results or progress with your current habits, if you're ready to optimize your health and focus on the right foods, the right nutrients, and at the right time, and if you're confused by all the information out there, I have what you need, and that's what the exciting news is. So I am now accepting 2 one-on-one clients with me, and I'm offering $200 off. So if you want to lose or manage weight without dieting, if you're wanting full clarity on what to eat, if you want to no longer let eating, cooking, or meal prepping stress or overwhelm you, and if you want a full plan in place so you can nourish your body, this is for you. I also have additional bonuses outside of that $200 off, and also outside of the recipes, resources, guidance, recordings, worksheets, support, accountability that you'll receive. You will also receive an at-home, no equipment workout plan that was created by a personal trainer. You'll also receive my meal prep guide, and you'll also receive my healthy eating while traveling guide, which is one of my favorites, like what to eat at the airport, what to eat on a road trip, what to get at the gas station type of thing. So $200 off and all those bonuses to live your life free from dieting, lose weight and keep it off, never stress about eating. For example, yesterday I was on the phone with a client who said that at lunchtime, she'll go into the kitchen every day and she says, I just don't know what to eat. She doesn't have a plan in place. She doesn't know what to eat. So instead of feeling that, just I like to say, you feel paralyzed in a way. Instead of feeling that way, you feel like you have full clarity on what to eat, so that you can therefore have all these things to look and feel your best inside and out. And these clients are people that I've worked with as well. So this client of mine, she feels so much better physically and mentally. She was feeling very obsessed over foods. This client down 10 pounds in 2 weeks, was using MyFitnessPal, was just not doing well with it, was never seeing results. This client was feeling way more energized and was sleeping way better than she ever had before. She was sleeping through the night and falling asleep easier. And this client lost 15 pounds and she's deleted all tracking apps and never felt better. And ultimately all the things so you can feel your best, you can prevent diseases and optimize your health. All right, so next steps for that $200 off plus all those bonuses, plus a lot more things, apply to work together, and I will answer those questions. I'm gonna put the link in here to apply to become a client. Again, after the next steps with that, after you apply, then I will be in touch just to kind of chat and learn more about your goals. But looking at some of the questions, someone said, how do I feel about fasting? I am not a fan of fasting. Fasting, research shows, does not work for long-term results. So the way that I work with my clients is figure out, if you were fasting, was it because you were binging at night? If you were, what nutrients are you lacking during the day that we can make sure you're getting enough of? Research shows, especially for women, that you should be eating a high protein breakfast for your hormones. What cereal do you recommend? I love the cinnamon oat squares from Quaker Oats. There are a million cereals out there, as I'm sure you can tell by the cereal aisle. but looking for things that are low in added sugar and have some fiber in it is what I recommend. But I love the cinnamon Quaker oats. That's like my go-to, cinnamon squares. I'm a little low on vitamin B12. Any suggestions what I can eat more of? Dairy or any meat products, like lean meat products would be your recommendation for B12. Dairy has a great amount of B12 in it as well. And spinach, there's also some veggies that do too. Someone asked about Special K cereals. It depends on the Special K cereal. So I don't have like I don't have a specific Special K one I recommend. I'm not as familiar with Special K. But, you know, again, looking for like the low added sugar with my clients, I do bring them through how to read a nutrition label. So for example, if you are looking through two Special K boxes, knowing this is definitely a no, this one's a go, so that you really feel that confidence. Someone asked, do I have a replay of my menopause talk? I do not. It was actually a full course that I did. It was a 6-week course with a group of women. So it was a private course, unfortunately. Someone said, can you talk about nutrition and menopause? I would like to know what specifically about nutrition and menopause you are interested in. If anyone, there's a couple of people interested in nutrition and menopause. There's a lot of things you can focus on for nutrition and menopause that we unfortunately don't have time to talk about just in the Q&A here, just because there's a lot of stuff going on. If you are interested in really having a plan for menopause, for what to eat to, I know menopausal women, for example, typically we end up getting more weight around the abdominal area. If you're wanting to feel more energized, reduce that abdominal fat, build muscle, have more energy, sleep better, reduce hot flashes, I really recommend just schedule it or reaching out via that form that I did, because we can kind of chat about my recommendations for you. But there's definitely a lot. I've done a lot of research. The course that I led was a 6-week nutrition course all about nutrition and menopause. So it kind of depends what you're going through too, because everyone in menopause is going through different things. What is my go-to treat? I mean, my favorite treat of all time is ice cream. I love ice cream, but I really love, I'll make myself like yogurt parfaits with chocolate chips and coconut and peanut butter and things like that. I like frozen kind bars. I actually make a lot of my own like sweet no-bake protein balls, for example, that I have on my website. I have a big sweet tooth. What's your higher recommended activity weekly goal? So that kind of depends on the overall goals of the person in terms of, you know, I don't recommend working out 7 days a week. I would say likely about 5 days a week, but in terms of like what that would look like in terms of the mix of cardio versus strength versus low intensity, that would kind of depend on what your goals are. If you're trying to build muscle mass, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to, you know, reduce disease, whatever it is, there are a couple things that come into play. Someone said, what are all of your different programs you offer and what are their timelines? So that's why you should schedule or reach out via that application form, because that is what we'll kind of talk about, or different options. I have many different options. I also do have very budget-friendly options, as well as like payment plans, things like that, really to make it affordable for everybody. So I'll put the link here again, but reach out for anyone here who is looking for a plan to know what to eat, how much to eat, timing to know if you're deficient in nutrients. Those of you who are asking about menopause and nutrition, I know many of you were asking, fill out that form and we can definitely chat about just like what it would look like. Again, no commitment. I just love to kind of learn more about what you are needing before I can give an answer to that. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. If anyone has any questions, you can reach out to me at Allison@nourishedroots.com. Oh, last question. Do you support keto or paleo recipes. So I don't support keto or paleo. The way that I work with my clients is helping them to learn how to eat to see the results they want. If you're on keto or paleo to, for example, lose weight, I promise you will gain that weight all back. Instead, we incorporate strategies to lose the weight and keep it off. But I do give all types of recipes in terms of like lower carb, healthy, nourishing, quick meal prep, all the things. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. Happy Thursday. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. It was so good to see all of you and see some familiar names here. If you have any additional questions, let me know, but please use that link to schedule or apply to work with me, and I will reach out about scheduling just a call together so we can chat more. So thank you everyone and have a good Thursday.